Good morning, student. This is the first part of the chapter Constitutional Design, Class 9, subject Social Science. Student, uh, to begin this chapter, we shall start from the very basic definition of democracy, what we studied in the previous chapter, the minimum definition of democracy, which I am repeating. I hope you are aware that democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. If you remember, we started with this definition in the previous chapter, then we added 4 features of democracy, and in the last part of the chapter, we concluded that there are broader sense of democracy. Here in this chapter, Constitutional Design, we will take the same definition. Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected in a completely different perspective. Let's take the second half of this definition, that is the rulers, in which the rulers are elected by the people. So there is no doubt that there exists a relation between the government and the people. And because people elect the government and government is likely to rule upon the people, both are interdependent. You can say that neither people nor the government is free to do whatever they are liking to do. So in other words, you can say that there has to be, to maintain their healthy relationship, to maintain a relationship between the people and the government, there has to be a rules and regulation in the form of writing. This you can consider as the supreme law of the land, or in other words, we can call it constitution of the country. Student, in the coming part of this chapter, we will try to find a better definition of democracy, but what this chapter will address overall, let me tell you that we will begin from the constitution. Why do we need a constitution? The very basic question comes, does it exist in non-democracy also? Whether constitution exists in democracy or whether constitution exists in both democracy and non-democracy. If you remember, we took the case of the Pakistan, where Pervez Musharraf changed the constitution and made the office of the president more powerful. It means even in the non-democracy there existed a constitution. Then student, we will discuss that what principles and values are associated in the constitution, who have designed the constitution, what are the procedure of making the constitution. These are the questions we shall address, including the last part, that do we need to have the procedure of amendment in every constitution, what is the logic, what is the benefit in the process of amending a constitution. All this we shall address in this chapter called Constitutional Design. So let us begin from page number 19 of your textbook, and your book has taken a case study, that is Democratic Constitution in South Africa, to help you understand that how much constitution is important and in a democratic setup in a democratic country. So let us have a brief introduction of the South Africa. I suggest you that you read it yourself, but I am giving you a brief idea that, as the name suggests, South Africa belongs to the African continent, and that too in the southern part of African continent. The story of South Africa is quite similar to our country, India. You are aware that in the 18th, 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, India remained under the colonial rule of the British. Similarly, South Africa was under the control of the British. What happened that 18th, 19th century, European from different countries of the Europe started coming and established themselves as the ruler over here, and they have dominated over the original people, the native people. The native people of South Africa are black people, who are actually the 3/4 of the population of South Africa, along with the colored people. Here the word colored is used for the people of the multiracial background, means those who belongs to the different races, those who are the crossbreed of the different races. And it also include the migrated Indians who were taken by the British to work over there and got settled, and now they are living as a citizen of the South Africa. So what happened that these 3 sections, the colored, the natives and the migrated Indian, all in the South Africa remain under the control of the white government after the 18th century and 19th century, something like the situation of your country India. During this period, the white government of South Africa practiced the policy of apartheid, or racial discrimination. I hope everybody is aware what the discrimination is. In your class 6 there was a chapter diversity and discrimination. In your class 8th you had a chapter like understanding marginalization and then confronting marginalization, where you studied, student, that how the based on caste, based on religion, based on gender, there exists a discrimination. Means the people are treated differently and not in a equal manner because they belongs to either different caste, because they belong to different religion, because they belongs to different gender. But that was the story of India. In South Africa, there exists a discrimination on the basis of the skin color. It means on the basis of one person being white, other person being black. So all the black people, colored people, migrated Indian people in South Africa are considered inferior. They are segregated in a sense. Segregated means separated. In the South Africa, you will find that there is a discrimination to the larger extent that there are separate cinema hall, separate shopping mall, separate toilets, separate places of the worship, that is church, as well as you will find that the bathing guard, beaches, public park, all are different and separate from for the black and white. The places which is meant for the people of the white origin, the residential places, I mean to say that residential places of the white peoples where black are not allowed to go. To help you understand the kind of discrimination existed there are two images shown on this very first page. You kindly go through, you will find two pictures are there. In first picture, on page number 19, there is a sign danger, and the black peoples have been warned to not enter in the premises, and it is mentioned that if they will dare to do so, they will consider themselves missing, because the dog who are there to protect the area will be making them, will not let them sustain or remain alive. That is what the first case. Second is the hoarding shown on the beaches of the South Africa with the three language, the English language, the Afrikaans language and the Zulu language. And what it is written here is mentioned that the people of the black community are not, what it want to say, you read it yourself, what it want to say, that the people of the black community or the colored or the other migrated Indians are not allowed to come on the beaches, which is only reserved for the people of the white community. So this itself gives a kind of discrimination, a segregation taking place. This apartheid was a very bad policy, and to counter this, a leader has initiated a struggle against this kind of racial discrimination. That was Mr. Nelson Mandela. I hope all of us are aware who was Nelson Mandela, but let us start what this man did. This man made struggle. As a result, what happened? The white government has arrested Mr. Nelson Mandela on the charges of treason. Treason is a word written in your book in the first page, where treason means doing anything against the interest of the country. That is a charge, very serious charge. It means if any person is charged with conspiring against their own country, then person can be subjected to punishment of the treason, punishment under the treason. So Nelson Mandela, because he wanted to raise the voice for the end of the segregation and apartheid policy, he was charged with treason and subjected to imprisonment at the Robben Island. Your book is starting with one of the quotation from Nelson Mandela, where he is claiming that he has fought against the white domination. Means he is giving an idea that what his struggle was against the ruling of the white in an unjust manner over the black. But he is also mentioning that he has fought against the black domination. We will come to know in the later part of this chapter what it means. He said that his all ideals, his beliefs are in the ideals of democracy and equality among the people irrespective of their skin color. And he said that this is the principle for which he is ready to live and even he is ready to die. So this gentleman, when he made struggle, he got arrested in 64 and remained in prison for 28 years in the Robben Island, where his only fault was that he was raising the voice against the white government in the Africa. But what happened here, student, that this process remained continue. It was not that Nelson Mandela was behind the bar, so his all the activities stopped against the government. In later part, in this part, you will find that after 1950, when many countries, including India, attained independence, the people of Africa got support from the nearby countries. India was the leading one, and India has opposed the policy of apartheid and policy of racial segregation in this part of the world. And white government which was opposed now by the political party made for the black people was African National Congress. Along with this, there was Communist Party. Along with this, some white people, the people of the white community, who also did not like the kind of discrimination what was taking place, the kind of atrocities done to the black people, supported the cause of the black people. And that is how a larger movement started. As a result, what happened, student, over here in this territory, that the white government has realized that now time has come that they cannot continue to dominate over the black population along with the colored and the migrated Indian. They also decided that time has come to give the liberty. So now what happened, that Nelson Mandela, after 28 years of the imprisonment, was released. And when he came out as a free man, the things was about to change in South Africa. New national flag of this country, which was renamed as Republic of South Africa, came into being on 26th of the April 1994. And here onwards, a completely different scenario was introduced. Now, Nelson Mandela, the leader like Nelson Mandela in the African National Congress, came forward and made a good deal. They have also addressed to the black people that now the black and the other the colored and the migrated Indians are free. They need not to have the feeling of taking the revenge against the white people for all the atrocities done over the period of 200 years. It was said these black leaders had appealed to the black community that they should forget all the atrocities done upon them by the white people. They should also forgive to the white peoples and let us make a new South Africa. So what happened, student, that the black and white together decided to make a new law of the land with a rainbow color. Rainbow color has been shown over here, showing that all color are going to be included with equal values and equal respect. All color symbolizes over here in this aspect that all the people, whether the white origin or the black, whoever were the citizen of this country, Republic of South Africa, has to be treated equally. And it was also said, student, that now they will be forming a new constitution, a democratic constitution. And then it was decided that how the constitution will be formed, what would be included in the constitution, how the new constitution will be designed. And based on this entire principle, we will address in general in the coming section of the chapter that how the constitution is formed, what are being done. There are few information and statements are given on the page number 20. Please go through that what Mr. Nelson Mandela said. He said that historical enemies succeeded in negotiating a peaceful transition from apartheid to democracy exactly because we were prepared to accept the inherent capacity of goodness in the other. Means Nelson Mandela said that after remaining in a hostile condition, the black and white, over these 200 years, now they are ready to forget what the enmity was existing between them. They are ready to get mingled with each other and to do the things for the well-being of the country, for the development of the country, because in every human being there exists the goodness. As a individual, everyone has that element of goodness, and that is what was accepted over here. Now this gentleman has accepted in through his book. He has said there is an activity, student, kindly go through, make a poster on the life and struggle of Nelson Mandela. Whenever you get opportunity, kindly do it. If available, read some portion of his biography. There is a biography of Nelson Mandela, The Long Walk to Freedom. If you get opportunity, do this. I cannot do over here because there is not so opportunity in this video content. And that is how the effort started to make a new constitution. We will continue in the coming section of this chapter that, like Africa, how in different other democratic countries, different kind of constitutional setup was made. We will also try to understand that why in different constitutions the rules and regulation are different. Maybe because their conditions are different, maybe the objectives of these country to be achieved is different. So we will explore all the possibility in the next chapter, the next part of this chapter. Thank you, student.